a good time. Put a smile on your face, yeah. Can't be Cam and Elation Radio. Even brighten your day and help you through the night. Bring you good music. Can't be Cam and Elation Radio. And here's your host, Kimmy Kim.
I don't wanna pretend, I don't wanna play games. Can't lie to myself, not one more day. Been trying to deal with some things that's hard to talk about. I'm going through some changes and I'm having my doubts. Been there for everyone else, now I'm going through. The problems tonight, just gonna have to get used to me not being around. I'm not doing fine. So many things going on in my life. I'm not okay. No, I'm not doing fine. Can't smile and give another. I blink it over. Supply. So I get dressed and put my face on and play my part. Handle my business with a heavy heart. Here's the tough thing about it all. I'm still praying, still going to church, and yet I fall. The struggle is so deep. Even with faith, I can't believe what's happening to me. Now I understand. I'm not okay. So many things going on in my life. I'm not okay. I'm not doing fine. No. Problems on the shelf, place them far away for another day. Take a breath, keep it moving, that's as good as it gets. I'm not so many things going on. So many. I'm not doing fine. Can't smile and give another. I'm not doing
Well, here we are on the Jadasa Live podcast again, streaming across social media and Blog Talk Relations Radio. Thank you, social media, for coming online. I am your host, Cynthia Bennett, here on the Jadasa Live podcast. We talk about issues dealing with abuse and neglect in the community. Our platform is used to raise awareness, provide resources, and offer hope through educating, edifying, and encouraging. But I want to thank you, our viewers and our listeners, and ask that if this podcast helps you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that we ask you and to help your family and your friends and associates. The Jadasa organization is asking you to donate into this much-needed cause. It's to help our survivors, and it's to help their children and their families. You can do this by going to our website at jadasa.org, hit the donate button, or you can do the PayPal me with our name, Jadasa.org, or you can cash app us at $Jadasa STL. That's JADASTL. Your donations are fully tax deductible. But before we get started with tonight, I want you all to remember that this is October, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There has been many campaigns going on that Jadasa has been directly or indirectly involved in. But we are raising awareness, and we're doing it on a magnanimous scale. So we are involved in a lot of awareness and causes. But before we get started, I want to let you know that if you have any information or for more information regarding resources, contact information, or questions, you can visit our website again at www.jadasa.org. So before we get started, I do want to bring one flyer that we have that is I want to share with our viewers. And that flyer is here. I want you to see this flyer. This is happening this Wednesday, the YWCA Metro St. Louis Candlelight Vigil. As you see, all of the domestic violence agencies that's across the metropolitan St. Louis area is also a part of this initiative with our logos at the bottom. This is a candlelight vigil, and it's going to be this Wednesday from 6 o'clock. It's actually going to start at 6:15. The vigil will be over about 6:45 to 7 o'clock. We have the mayor's confirmation as of today that they have confirmed with me that I've reached out to is Mayor Ella Jones of Ferguson, Mayor Tommy Pearson of Bell Fountain, Mayor Sharon Pace of Northwoods, Mayor Babatunde Dingbo of Berkeley. We have Councilwoman Shalonda Webb of St. Louis County, as well as Councilwoman Retta Days, and also Mayor Reggie Jones of Dalewood. So we have all of these politicians that's going to come out, and they are going to give us a proclamation declaring October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in their municipality. So we are honored about this. We are actually getting some footage and some coverage with this, and we are making a footprint, especially not just in North County, but in St. Louis as well, because this is an epidemic that has been going on for years, and now we are just asking our politicians and our elected officials to come on board and to help us fight this epidemic, and they have started to do so. And so we are excited about it. We are looking for you to come out. Please come out. I will be out there. I will be speaking, as well as each of our elected officials will be doing their individual proclamations, and we would love to see you be a part of this, because it takes a village. It takes a village to deal with this type of issue. And again, I always say the community is out here, and we need everyone to get on board. So again, if you need any more information, you can email me at jadasa.org, info@jadasa.org, or you can go to our webpage and you can hit contact us if you need more information. So I just wanted to get that out there. So tonight I did put out there social media that we were going to be talking about violence, because we are doing this vigil, and all of the the families that's coming out and all of the people, they died at the hand of an abuser. Violence is violence, regardless if it's domestic, accidental, or intentional, or somebody you don't know, or whatever. So we are raising awareness, and I have a young lady who is here tonight who is going to share with us her journey, because we all know a couple of years ago, I believe it was right before we went into the pandemic, there was a bonfire at the Normandy High School where I think 5 people were shot. They said 5 people were shot, and this young lady happens to be one of the survivors, the one that was shot. So, Keandra, I want to welcome you on the Jadasa Live platform, and can you share and let us know anything about you? But I want to say thank you for coming on and being able to share with us on this night.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and good evening, everybody. I am Keandra Jones, and I am currently with the Neighborhood Healing Network at the Fathers and Family Support Center. So, yes, Ms. Bennett did mention that I was at the bonfire a couple of years ago in Normandy. It wasn't at Normandy High School, but it was at a large field, and you were correct. They started fighting, then they started shooting, and unfortunately, I was one of the ones that got injured. And so with that, it became a lot. I went through a various of different emotions, anger, mad, sad, hurt, pain. I went through a lot. And I often tell my clients at Fathers and Family Support Center, because I explain to them as well that COVID did me a favor, because I didn't want to be around anybody. That was traumatic. I couldn't even imagine being in war, but it was something similar. It was so many gunshots, people just everywhere. It was such an unfortunate situation.
So let me ask you, Keandra, what was going through your mind? I mean, did you know at the time you had been shot? I mean, I know there was chaos. Everybody was running, trying to get cover. People was running all over, just trying to get out of harm's way. And what was going through your mind? Was the adrenaline just that much where you was trying to get out of the way too, and you did not realize? I mean, what was going through your mind when all of that was happening before you realized that you had been hit?
Yes, adrenaline was running. Gunshots were flying. We didn't know whether to get out, lay down, run, stand up. So when the gunshots first came out, yes, I was laying down on the ground. And so it was a period where they had stopped. And we got up and started walking and trying to get up a hill. And they started again. And I knew immediately that I was shot. I told my husband, hey, I've been shot. He was like, you serious? And it was a gush of blood on my brand new boot. So it was immediately, I knew.
Wow.
I felt a very piercing feeling going through my foot.
Wow. So let me ask you this: were you all invited to this event, or are you an alumni of Normandy? How did you end up being a part of this event that night?
So my husband went to Normandy. He's an alumni. He kept saying, "Oh, it's gonna be nice. You know, it's been nice so many years." And at first, it was so nice. People were so nice. Even after I got shot, the alumni, they sent me flowers. They brought a card to the house, just saying they were really sorry. It never happened before. So yeah, it was just an unfortunate situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's talk about the trauma, because I know you and we were sharing last week, and you talked about how this unfortunate event affected your children. And I want to share that and talk about that, because I want people to know, and I always say, even when it comes to abuse, it's never just the abuse and the abuser. Everybody that's connected to that person is affected. And so, this is not an abusive situation. However, it was violence that was that you found yourself in, even though it wasn't intended. Talk about the effect when trauma hits the family or when trauma hits the person, how it affects other people around them.
So the trauma for me, I will say in the beginning, it directly affected my son. He was in Florida playing football, and he was just having a hard time. I mean, a lot of rage, a lot of anger. And his coach called and was like, hey, what's going on? Because he's just not himself. It was very embarrassing to say that his mom got shot. So I talked to his coach, and after that, I just reassured my son that I was okay. My daughter later on started showing signs that she was affected, and we just assumed that the children are okay because they were not there or they just heard. But no, that's not the case. Finally, she started talking about it and said, when they told me you were shot, I thought you were dead. So that really affected her, and she had some stuff going on, and they were trying to figure out why was she scoring so high on the trauma scale. Okay. And me healing myself, I had forgot. I'm like, what are we talking about? So that was like 2 years ago. I was like, 2 years ago. And it dawned on me. And at that moment, I felt rage all over again because not only you affected me, you affected my child as well.
And so, and that's good that, not good that it happened, but good to bring it up because, people need to understand that trauma, I like to say it this way, trauma travels. It travels. It is not stagnant. And, and I just thought of that just now. That's my first time. So, so trauma travels just by listening to you. And so when a person is going through any type of traumatic experience, and, we have to realize that it's not just us that's going through it. It's everybody that's connected to us that's hurting.
Yes.
And so that helps, hopefully that helps the people that are dealing with any type of trauma, get the help, seek the help. Don't try to do it yourself because, our children, our kids, they act like they don't listen to us. And they act like they don't hear us. But they watch us. They do it. They watch us, and when mama hurt, that's a whole nother scale. When mama hurt, it's just everything hurt because that's mama. And so it's, and you said it affected your son, but I know you talked about your daughter because she had to go through some, some kind of counseling or whatever. So how did it affect your son? Because he was away at college, right, when this happened?
Yes.
Okay, so as again, trauma travels because his mom. So what were some of the things that he went through that affected him that you knew that what happened to you affected your children?
So when he came home from college, actually when he came home, I was walking back normal, so he was kind of taken back, like, what happened? But he became overprotective. Every time I walk to the car, he's, following me, even if it's dark outside. Where you going? It caused him to be overprotective. Like, hey, I wasn't here the last time it happened, so next time I will be ready. So it put up a defense around him to look at everybody, because now he's like, which one was it? Who did it? Mm-hmm. So now he's definitely on alert.
Okay. So now what I read from the article, they haven't caught the person, right? So because of that, do you feel like it's a closure for you? Is it something like you still? Is there like a closure that hasn't happened because they did not catch who did it? And to me, for that many people, somebody saw something.
Somebody's saying something, but we live in St. Louis, so. But no, for me, my closure was praying, and God had protected me in a way that I've never seen before. So I chose to focus on healing and not worry about that part.
Okay, good. So let's go to that part.
In the beginning,
focus on healing.
I was not at that place in the beginning. Because it was a very embarrassing situation. You know, they always say, "Oh, you got shot. Who was shooting at you? You know, who were you shooting at?" No, I was not.
Oh, okay, so the negativity behind that, I can see that. So let me ask you: you said you chose healing. So share with, and I like that Jenny Horton said, "God is your closure." You're right. So share with our viewers and our listeners about what steps did you take, because, you know, I always tell people it's a process. Your process is different than somebody else's process. So you can't look at somebody else and say, well, why are they going forward, or why are they healing, or why it doesn't seem like they still affected about whatever the trauma is and you're still dealing with it. And I always tell people, don't measure your experience or don't measure your journey against somebody else, because your experience and your process may be 3 weeks and somebody else's may be 3 months. Everybody has a process, and you have to go, and I always say, your race, your pace. You go at your own race and you go at your own pace, because if you go faster than what you should, you'll trip up, right? And so can you share with our viewers what was your healing? What steps did you take? What did you do?
My healing was praying. Listen, I had to get my family on the phone, my friends from the salon I work at, and they just started praying. And prayer for me as well, prayer for my family. It was prayer for me, because in the beginning it was not easy. But right. I knew that God had a plan for me because he saved me.
And see, I like to hear that, because, you know, our life follows our word. And he says, by the word of your testimony. And so you have to speak that in the atmosphere, you know, because our life has to catch up with the words that we put in the atmosphere. And I like that fact, because you said you wasn't there at first. So what did you do? I know you had to speak something. I know you got to open your mouth and speak something. And the reason why is because I don't know who's listening. I don't know who is online. I don't know where they are in their Christian walk, if they have a Christian walk. But we're not dealing with that piece. We're dealing with the healing part. What can they do? Because a lot of times people talk themselves down. You know, I'm not going to never get better. I'm not going to never get over this. And so people don't realize that our lives follow our words. The Bible says you have what you say. I'm not trying to go there, but the Bible says that you have what you say. So if you put it out there, your life got to follow up with the words you put in the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
So there are some things. So you had to not only get people that pray with you, because you were praying, but you had to surround yourself with prayers. Surround yourself with people who are positive, right? You got to cut out the negative. And the reason why I'm saying is because a lot of times when people going through traumatic experience, they tend to get around folks that's going to help give them a pity party. Pity party. Well, you can't have a pity party. Tell the pity party to move on. You gotta have a joyous party. I'm this. I'm overcomer. Yes. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be better, right?
Yes. So yes, I understand what you're saying. So that came with basically what you're saying. The people that were around me. God started speaking to me when my foot was completely shattered. I was on crutches. So my aunt had a previous, I think she broke her ankle or her foot or her leg. And so me never being shot before, I'm like, I'm never going to walk again. You know, I don't know how my foot is going to be. It's going to be messed up. And she was like, no, you can walk again. You know, it'll be fine. You may have some pain or whatever. It may be swollen, but you will walk again. And so if anybody knows being injured or being off, you know, for however long, the devil starts to play with your mind. So I just, like I said, I started praying. God started talking to me and say, hey, you can do this. You can walk again. You can go back to work. So I said, okay. So everywhere I went, people made it just easy for me. It's like, hey, you can wear house shoes to work. What? You can wear house shoes to work. Like, you can. You have a swollen foot.
that's good to hear that. So, you know what? Now let's move on over to, we're talking about healing. You talked about your healing, your process, right? So now you are a part of an organization. I know it's Fathers of Support, but you're a part of an initiative that's called Neighborhood Healing Network, correct? Can you share with us about that initiative?
So the initiative is the Neighborhood Healing Network, and what we do, we assist clients that have been dealing with gun violence, domestic violence, hit and run, meaning you were hit by a car and somebody kept going, carjackings. All of these things are trauma. So when you go through these traumas, it is a process similar to what I'm talking about, but we're here to assist you with that process. So you have me contacting the client once a week. You have a therapist that we work with crime victims, and we have 2 therapists at Fathers and Family Support Center that work directly with the guys or the ladies, whichever class you get into. And we just start healing. I have so many clients that call and say, hey, the lady got shot. You know, I was shot too. So how did you do it? And so when I say God saved me, he just put me right in this position to help others.
Awesome. And it probably is more effective and efficient because you've been where they are. So you can tell them from experience, that, yes, that was a physical, but, it also affects the mental. It affects the emotional. It affects all of those, the psyche, and stuff like that. So you're helping the person heal not only body, but mind, body, and soul, or mind, body, and spirit. And so that is awesome that you have this. So the charge, the programs you're talking about, victim services, social services, trauma workshops, and support groups. Mm-hmm. Are those charges, is the cost of those charges? How can they contact you if they want that? Because I'm telling you, for some reason lately, the last couple of years, I don't know what is going on in St. Louis. But, people was getting shot and stuff, and, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of people that's hurt. There's a lot of stuff out there that the needs are not being met. Yes. And I know we don't have a lot, we meaning social services agencies, we don't have a lot, and they're stretched and stuff. It's not on top of that with COVID. That's another thing that we have to deal with. So how can they get in touch with you?
So they can come down to Fathers and Family Support Center at 1601 Olive Street downtown, or they can call me, 314-333-4170, extension 120. I feel like I say that so much. So they can contact me or come to visit me, shoot me an email at kjones, fathers with an S, support.org. Anyway, smoke signal, I'll get it. I'm joking.
Okay. And so, is there a Facebook page? What if they want to, because some people are still, I don't want to say afraid, but they're still cautious with COVID.
Yeah.
And so is there a way that they can reach out through Zoom or go to your website and you all is there a chat function, because we're trying to meet people where they are. And if they don't want to come out, okay, we're still going to get you the services you need, even if we have to do it across Zoom or chat or whatever. Are those avenues available, those tools?
Yes, ma'am. So Fathers and Family Support Center has a tab on there for the Neighborhood Healing Network. If they need anything, they can go directly to the Father Support Center tab, and they can even leave a general message for me on that tab, and it will get to me.
Okay, awesome. Now, I'm looking at the flyer, and I know about have you known someone who's been impacted or you yourself. But then you have something on here, I know you said, have you witnessed a violent crime or incident? So share with me with that. What do people, when they come to you and they witness this, does it affect them just as much as if they had been violated or they have been the victim? Share some of those because, that kind of just stood out with me when I saw, have you witnessed a violent crime or an incident?
Okay.
Which is more psychological, obviously.
So absolutely. With that part, it's called the community violence. So it's like when you watch Boys in the Hood, you see dead bodies. That's not normal, but people normalize it. Oh, it's normal. No. So we're going in, well, I'm personally going in having those uncomfortable conversations saying, hey, that's not normal. And this is how you start to heal that. Yeah, it's community violence is everywhere. Brothers being murdered. Now, for whatever reason, a lot of sons are being murdered by their child's mother. So the mom is the one that's having this trauma. The children are having the trauma. The sister of the brother. It's just a lot of trauma with community violence.
So what do you think about the recent murders of women, females? You know, I mean, you know, when I was growing up, I'm pretty much older than you by probably quite a bit, but when I was growing up in the neighborhood, it was always two things. You don't mess with the ladies and you don't mess with the kids. That was a code of the street. You know, no women and children. Now it seems like it's everything but that. I mean, those are the two things that's being targeted.
And that is one of the things that I explained to the classes. Women are not exempt. Children are not exempt. We're just not exempt anymore. It's like there are just nobody is safe anymore, and for whatever reason, I'm sure it is trauma. Hurt people. You know, I could have went that route. You know, the people at the bonfire, they could have went that route because it was very close. You know, but like I said, by the grace of God, he just changed my mind frame. But not everybody, you know, has that same thought process.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. What can you share with our viewers and our listeners, someone who has lived through a traumatic situation, going through a traumatic situation, you know, what steps can they do? What steps can they start with their healing process, even though they know they need help, but they're not just ready to come forward yet to share with somebody else or to share with others? You know, they still haven't grasp their mind around, I need to go talk to somebody. What can they do now? How can they start the healing process? How can they get out of that rut that they're stuck in? How can they get out that hole that they've been in for whatever long, a year, 2 years, or whatever, how long that traumatic experience, because some people are dealing with something from their childhood and they just can't get over it.
Yes.
But they're not ready yet. They're not ready to share or tell with somebody. What can they do now, or what can they say to themselves to kind of start the healing process? What is something that you've done or you share with others from your experience or from your educational background or from your teaching? What can you share with our viewers and our listeners about how to start that healing process from a traumatic situation?
I would say start with finding somebody that you feel comfortable with talking to. And if not, a therapist is an excellent way to even start so they can let you know what trauma looks like. Oftentimes, we don't know what trauma looks like. If we are walking down the street and somebody's shooting and we're not ducking, that's traumatic. That's trauma. If you can't sleep at night, 4th of July bothers you, New Year's bothers you, if you're angry, you know, mad, anything of those lines, those are trauma. If anything has happened to your parents, like my son, if your mom's been shot, your sister's been shot, your brother's been murdered, those are all, trauma is inedible. You're going to have some type of trauma from that. So, yeah, I encourage you to talk to people that you feel safe with communicating with. You can talk to me. A therapist is definitely a good sign. Actually, somebody sent me from Fathers and Family Support Center. They sent me a message in my inbox about crime victims because I knew absolutely nothing about being shot or being a victim, absolutely nothing. So I called and I talked to them. The therapist didn't work out for me, but God sent me somebody, you know, to change my mind frame, you know, to start healing, and a lot of prayer.
And so I want people to know that, you know, it's okay to say you need help. It's okay to say, I need to talk to somebody. I tell them it doesn't make you less of a human. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a failure. It makes you someone who recognizes. See, the thing is you recognize when you need help. And the problem is when you need help and everybody else recognizes it but you. That's the problem. I'm talking about in anything, whatever, But when you know and you recognize when you're jumpy, and when things bother you, as you say, when you can't eat and you constantly playing those things in your mind, it's just constantly replaying in your mind, that's a healing that needs to take place. I wrote a book a couple of years ago, and I actually have it over here somewhere. I'll put it up here. This is our book I wrote, A Healing of Your Memory. And I tell people, based on all the clients I've had, this is a story about 9 clients, and it's triggers. There's triggers. We all have triggers. And I always tell people we have problems. Everybody got problems, but you don't want your problems to have you. And so I want people to know that's on here, that's listening, it's okay to seek help. You have Ms. Keandra Jones from the Neighborhood Healing Network. She's giving you her information. If you want to reach out more, she's giving her information, or you can reach out to me, and I will, send your information on to her. Also, that's Jadasa. That's what we deal. We deal with group support. We have weekly group support. If you know anybody, we do group support on Wednesdays. It's called Synthesis. We don't deal with the men, but we deal with the women, and we deal with issues. We have to, because if we don't begin to deal with the issues, they're going to start dealing with us. Absolutely. Right? And they come out in the worst place. Somebody asked you for where is the bar soap, and you done went off on them. It wasn't the soap. It's just that was just topical. Absolutely. It's something deep down, but because you asked at the wrong time, when they was going through something, it just blew up. Because we have to deal with it, and I'm glad you all talk about, with the men, and you all talk about, because I believe that is why we have all these killings out here, not with just men and just with people, because folks are not dealing with issues. They're not dealing with issues, and it's letting it build up, and then when they build up, folks just blow up, right? And sometimes when we blow up, it ain't no coming back from there. It's not coming back from that, and so. Kian, what else do you want to share with our viewers? What else do you want to share? Because I think this is a very much needed conversation that we need to allow the space for it, because there's so much that's going on out here, not just in St. Louis, but around the world. It's just so much going on. And trauma, we deal with trauma-informed care. We talk about that. And not only just for people, I teach people at shelters. That's working in the shelters. Now, if you got something going on, you can't come in there talking to your client crazy because you done dealt with something in your house. You dealing with some trauma. Even though we're workers, we have to recognize when we need to take a break.
Absolutely.
We need to recognize that. So what else can you share with our viewers? This is a very healthy, yes, I agree, Jenny. Mental health needs to be talked about more and more, and especially, and I'm not trying to get off into the black and white, but especially in the African-American community. We need to talk about it, because I'm going to tell you, Uncle Pookie, when we was growing up, doing something at the family reunion, Uncle Pookie wasn't right. We can't just say, oh, that's just Uncle Pookie, that's him. No, we can't keep doing that. Uncle Pookie needed help then, and he needs help now. Right, it's affecting our black community. Yes, it is. So what do you want to share, Keandra? What else do you have for us?
I just encourage people to find somebody safe to talk about your truth. I would encourage you all to, like you said before, don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. This is not where you have to be first. This is not it. I encourage anybody that can implement, different sessions, different organizations, to kind of bring that out, because it is needed. And also, if they can't make it to Fathers and Family Support Center, we have other agencies. We have other hubs. We have one at Better Family Life, Boys and Girls Club, Mission St. Louis, and we also have one at Urban League. So we have the Neighborhood Healing Hub. We're all around. So if you can't make it to Fathers and Family Support, if your children go to Boys and Girls Club, hey, grab somebody there.
And you also have one at the St. Peter's Resource Center as well in Ferguson.
Absolutely.
So there's help there everywhere, but I want you to go back. You said something, and I want you to elaborate on that. I told you this 40 minutes. See, this 40 minutes already. See, I want you to explain when you said, long as you share your truth. I want you to explain that to somebody that's listening. What is their truth? I want you to explain that.
So go back to where you said Uncle Pookie, bothered somebody. That bother to one person may be something different to another person. So you have to express how it made you feel. And you can't think about, anybody else or they're not affected like this. You just have to work on what's affecting you and how it's affecting you.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to speak up and speak out, right? Because, we grew up in the black community. I can say that because I'm black. I'm African American. What goes on in the house stays on in the house? Nope. Open your mouth and share. Tell somebody. What goes on in the house is not staying in the house no more. It's out in the community. And so we got to say we have to share and let the community know that this is not, that this is not right. There's some healing that needs to take place. We can't go out and heal other folks if we're not healed, if we're not whole. So we got to get ourselves together and heal on the inside. You know when you messed up. I tell people, we can play like we got it going on and all that stuff. You know when you need some help. You know when you what, girl, you tripping. Why don't you act like that? You didn't really have to act like that. Now, you may not let nobody else know, but you go talk to yourself and say, you know what, you didn't even have to act like that. You didn't have to respond like that. What is wrong with you? Sometimes we need to check ourselves. Like, we need to check ourselves, right?
Yeah, because
we have to. Especially when nobody else check us, we need to check ourselves. And so, social media. This is just we're talking about trauma. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We are having a visual this Wednesday that I put out. We're going to be at the YWCA candlelight visual. It is now at the 1155 Olivet Executive Parkway. This is the YWCA that was downtown St. Louis for over 100 years. They have now moved out to Olivet, and we will be there with all of the domestic violence agencies, social service agencies out there doing a vigil for everybody that's been lost to some violence. We have a lot of the mayors that's going to be giving proclamations from their municipalities declaring October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This is huge. We're asking you to come out, to be a part of it. We are going to have news coverage out there. We're going to have resources. We're going to have pamphlets. Keandra, if you can come out, bring some pamphlets. We would love for you to come out because we want to provide resources and to let the people know that we are there, we are here for our community. Okay? So I'd like to end with this. This scripture is not whether you saved or not. It's just a scripture I like to say. Unfortunately, I am saved. So my point is this. I always go to the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, where he says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, the thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." What God is saying in that scripture is, I know the thoughts I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking good things of you. I'm thinking peaceful things of you because I want you to get the end you expect. And if your end and what your end is and your story is not what you expect, God said, I want you to get the end that you expect. Then we have the opportunity and the power to change it. Okay? And so I, again, want to thank Keandra Jones for coming on for this today's segment. I appreciate you. We got to bring you back.
Yes.
Okay? We have to bring you back. Okay? So with that being said, I want you all to be safe. I want you to be well. And don't get off, Keandra. And I want you to be whole. Good night.
Night. So thank you. Talk radio.
Yes.
Let us not be ashamed to ask the good Lord to walk with us. In every situation, whatever you may be going through, don't be ashamed to ask the good Lord to walk with you. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. I need Jesus to walk with me while I'm on this tedious journey. I want Jesus to walk with me. Hold my hand, Lord. Will you hold my hand? Yeah. Hold my hand, Lord. Will you hold my hand while I'm on this tedious journey? That's why I want Jesus to walk with me. In my trial, will you walk with me? Yeah. In my trial, will you walk with me? When my heart is almost breaking, all I want Jesus to walk with me. You see, I will lift my eyes to the hills from which cometh my help. Had my help surely coming from the Lord.